I recently had the opportunity to be a guest on a podcast about creativity, and they asked me about what gets me out of bed every morning. And my answer was this, that what gets me out of bed each day is that there will only be one of each day in the history of the world. So what are we going to do with it? Today, we're going to talk about the best investment that you can make each day to get the most out of the history in the making that is today. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. My name is Dustin Peed, creative coach and consultant. We are here on April 25th, 2024, episode 63. And today we're going to talk about future you. Cannot wait to talk about all things future you. But before we get into that, I want to remind you that I'm here to help creatives know themselves, their process, and their teams so that they can create greater things together. I hope that's why you're here. I hope that's what you're getting out of each and every episode that we release. Speaking of the episodes, I would love, if you're listening to this episode on an audio podcast platform, for you to leave a 5-star rating and review. That really helps us to get this content out even further to those like you who could really benefit from it. If you're watching on YouTube, hello there. I'm so glad that you're here. Would love for you to hit the like button. That's the thumbs up. Also hit the subscribe and ring the bell while you're there. That way you'll be notified every time new content is released. We're releasing this content weekly right now on Thursdays. But if we change that, you'll be the first to know because you like, subscribe, and rang the bell. So want to remind you that I'm on social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Dustin Peed. That's P-E-A-D. And you can also find me at dustinpeed.com. I recently did a refresh of that site and put some services on there that I've really kind of focused in on for the year and moving ahead in my own business and my own entrepreneurship. And so I would love for you to take a look at that list and see if there's anything that I can help you with, creative or a small business owner. There's lots of options out there. If you have a conference coming up that I could speak at or share to you, I'd love to be able to do that as well. But if there's anything that I can help you with while you're there, click on the Let's Talk button, hop on my calendar, and I would love to chat with you. All right, on to today's show. It's all about future you, right? So here's a quick story to kick us off. I am an extremely forgetful person. Extremely forgetful person. I was never a good test taker because it didn't matter how much I studied. When it came down to the test, I would not remember it. Even though I knew it, maybe I just could not remember it. I have the worst memory. I have a tendency to forget even the most common tasks. So for me, and most likely for a lot of you as well, if we don't set ourselves up to remember important tasks or dates, it's not going to end well for us. We're going to forget them. People are going to see that we drop the ball constantly, that we don't care about them because we're forgetting these things. But as I mentioned in the intro, we only get one of each date in history. Today, at the time of this podcast releases on April 25th, 2024, there's only one of these days that will ever exist in history. So why don't we make the most of it? Tomorrow be damned can be the rally cry for most creatives that want to carpe some diem. But what we often forget is that if we don't set ourselves up for success today, then we're not setting ourselves up for success tomorrow, and future us will be affected. Your future success is created by you each and every day. Now, again, obviously the results are different, but the future success can be set up by you and created by you each and every day. So what we're going to talk about today is you have to remember future you. It's a joke to say things like that's a future me problem. I'm not going to worry about that. But nothing could be further from the truth. What you work on and set up today, it will either be a problem or a blessing for your future self. You will either create a problem or a blessing for your future self by everything that you do today. So here's just a few things that you can do today to ensure that you set up future you for the success you deserve. First thing, use technology to your advantage, specifically reminders. use reminders. I'm constantly putting reminders in my phone, not just for grocery lists and things like that, but I have reminders even to how am I connecting with my kids? It's super important for me, right? If it's important for me, I'm going to create a reminder about it. What am I doing today that I can share with the world? That's the show your work mentality of Austin Kleon. I also remind myself every single day that today is a gift. And so if you look at my watch, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll show this to you as well. But on my watch face, on my Apple Watch face, are my reminders. It shows me the most recent or the top most reminder that has not yet been checked off for that day. And that way, if I'm not looking at my phone for a period of time, I at least have my watch. And when I go to look at my watch, I can see, yes, I remembered that I wanted to look into this new technology, or I wanted to call this person, or hey, it's this person's birthday, or it's this person's day that's really tough for them. So I want to reach out. So if you lead a team of people, reminders is the simplest thing. And you might think to yourself, well, that's just super inauthentic. Let me tell you what's worse than that. Is forgetting these special days and forgetting these things. Because if you're like, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do this, but you never do it, it's probably because you have a forgetful mentality like me. So use the reminders in your life, whether it's sticky notes or reminders lists on your phone that pops off, or a calendar or Asana, whatever it is. Put that stuff into place so that you can remember the things that are important to you and set up future you for success. That leads me to my next one. That's put it on the calendar. Put it on your calendar. The things that you say that are super important to you, or the things that you say that you want to get done, but you never get done. It often doesn't get done because you didn't make time for it. We each have the same set of hours in every single day, the same set of days in every single week, the same set of weeks in every single month and year, and so on and so on. And so we're all playing on that same equal field. The difference is that people that actually are more successful, they plan a time and they set aside time to do the things that are most important to them. And so if you have something that you're like, I just consistently want to get this done, but I can't get it done, carve out time in your calendar, actually put it on your calendar and actually stick to it. Your future self will thank you for it. All right. Brain dumps is another thing. Brain dumps are huge. We often get into this mentality where we feel like we're juggling 18 different things and we're not sure which one is the most urgent and important, which we've talked about on a previous episode. But what we have the opportunity to do here with brain dumps is we can just go, okay, let me just take the beginning of my week or the beginning of my month or the beginning of my quarter, and I'm going to write down every single thing that's in my head, whether it be a thought, an idea, a task, a worry, a doubt, something I'm super excited or looking forward to, whatever, and get it all out of your brain and onto paper. This is super going to help you in your future because you're going to be able to reference that list and go, that's right, I remember that. If you keep everything jumbled up in your mind, it'll only have but so much capacity before you begin to forget things. And thus you're setting up future self for failure because they didn't remember. You didn't remember the things that you really, really wanted to remember. So notepads, field notes, iPhone notes, whatever it is, jot it down. Set aside 10 minutes to just empty everything completely out of your brain. Your today self will thank you for it because you're going to feel a whole lot better, and your future self will thank you for it because you wrote down that thing that you wanted to remember before you forgot it. All right, last thing, repeating annual or quarterly tasks. These are the things that constantly frustrate creatives because, man, I don't know why I forgot that this thing comes up every single quarter or every single month or every single year, and we're constantly forgetting that it happens. And then by the time it comes up, it's too late. We didn't prepare for it, whatever the case may be. Future self needs to be reminded that that stuff is coming up. So perfect example. We're here at the end of April. Let's say you have something super important that happens in May every single year. Now would be the time to go ahead and remind yourself that, hey, this thing is coming up. It's super important. We need to make sure we have time for it. We need to make sure this project gets done on time. And so if we haven't already been talking about it, right about now, we need to be talking about it for sure. We're really kind of getting into that too late window to really execute it the way that we really want to. So put that on your Asana, put it on your Trello cards, whatever it is that you use for your project management. Put that on there and remind yourself and have it repeat quarterly, annually, monthly, whatever it is. And that way you'll remember constantly when it comes up. When I was in ministry, we used to always forget about Memorial Day and Veterans Day. It's not that it wasn't important, hugely important, and hugely important for the church to honor those holidays, right? But we would always forget about those things. So what we did finally is we said, look, we're going to remind ourselves in March that Memorial Day is a thing, and we need to start thinking about it. And so I just put in my Asana, remember Memorial Day is coming. And I set it for like mid-March, and I had to go off every single year. And then it would pop up on my Asana in mid-March, and I would be like, oh yeah, that's right, Memorial Day is coming. Thanks, past me, for remembering that and setting up future me for success to remember that so that we can execute Memorial Day well. It's no different than any other thing that you have, the thing that just constantly comes up, whether it be monthly, quarterly, or annually, that you're forgetting. Put it in your project management software, set it to repeat as often as it needs to repeat to remind you that it's coming. So all these things can set up future you for success. At the end of the day, everything that you do today, you need to ask yourself, will this set up future me for success or for failure? Will it set up future me or future team, right? If it's a team environment that you're in, will this set us up for success later, or will it hinder us later? And sometimes you could just think of the extra miles that you can go to really ensure the success for future you or future team. And so when you're in meetings, I would just, and you're in brainstorms, you're in collabs, you're sitting alone on a blank sheet of paper, cranking out the next thing, just remember, is there something in this that I can do to set up future me for success? So remember, future you is dependent on today you, so set them up for success as much as possible. Thanks for joining me for this episode. Next week, back with episode 64, we're going to start a 5-part series during the month of May on the importance of community for creatives. I cannot wait to be with you then. Talk to you next time on the Creativity Made Easy podcast.